Untitled Sports Show.
This is the mic! Say hot!
Don't run that over here. What the wrong with you?
So, Dan, we got a Hall of Fame game between the Arizona Cardinals and the Dallas Cowboys. Your thoughts, concerns, questions, commentary?
Seeing as it's a Hall of Fame game, and as many of you football fans would know, as of watching some Hall of Fame games, that it's never, there's not like, you're not going to have all the starters out there. It's not going to be a big showcase, but for everybody like myself that has been dying for these past months just to see a little bit of football. I mean, DQ, I've even been watching a little bit of Canadian football. I mean, it sucks. I think it's terrible.
I
but
have
like
not
just to
watched
see somebody
Canadian
take
football.
a nice shot, a nice smack, and
I
then
have-
some tackling, some touchdowns. Yeah, football!
I have not watched any Canadian football, Dan. I can attest to that.
But now that we have real football back and it's on the way, I am feeling much better.
Hey?
Hey,
So
the football.
No, but what do you think? What do you think specifically about the game? Any concerns for Dallas's defense?
Oh, yes. Lots of the concerns. We have no defensive backs, and that's going to be very troublesome. Hopefully everybody can kind of hold it together. What I'm really excited to see, though, I don't know if he was going to play in the Hall of Fame game, but sooner or later in preseason we should probably see him, and that was the rookie last year, Jalen Smith, that they came in the second round selection. He was a beast.
Jalen who?
Jalen Smith, he was a beast.
No, I'm just joking. I know.
Beast
I know
in Notre
who
Dame
Jalen
before he
Smith
got
is.
that horrific knee injury that sidelined him for the whole year, for the rest of that year, and for the year that he got drafted his rookie year.
Fighting Irish, right?
Fighting Irish. And I'm really excited to see what he brings to the table. Him being picked in the second round let you know that he was what people think of him, even though the injury is kind of scary, and we're going to see how well he can rehab back from it. He's been doing very great from what I've seen in camp, and I'm excited to see him strap up and just put a helmet on somebody.
Anything from
Obviously
there?
not helmet to helmet, though. We don't want no penalties.
So, speaking of the Hall of Fame, we got some inductees. Dan, you want to give us some insight on that?
All right, so we got a couple of guys that are going to be receiving some gold jackets on that day. Just to get into a couple, we got Morton Anderson. He's a kicker. Some people probably don't know who he is, but he's the all-time leader in games that have been played, which is 382 games. And, he's also, the all-time leader in scoring in NFL history with 2,544 points. So
Wow, that's a lot of points.
that's pretty damn good, if you ask me.
Any Pro Bowls, Dan?
About 7 of those,
Wow.
DQ. And not only is he on the 1980s All-Decade team, he's also on the 1990s All-Decade team.
And what teams did he play for, Dan?
Well, as you know, of kickers make their way around. But very noticeable, he played over 13 years on the New Orleans Saints.
Wow.
He also played a combined 8 seasons with the rival Falcons, and he played a couple of seasons for other teams out there.
My math's not too much pretty good, but I think you just said over 20 years, Dan. Holy guacamole.
Oh, yeah.
So, moving on, also getting their golden jacket, we got the running back Terrell Davis from the 1990 Denver Broncos. He's a 2-time Super Bowl champion, also NFL MVP in 1998. Offensive Player of the Year, 96 and 98. And also 2-time rushing leader in 96 and 98. That's quite a running back right there, Dan.
Yeah, you gotta give it up to him. It wasn't just John Elway that helped pave the way for those back-to-back Super Bowls for Mile High. You gotta give a lot of respect to Terrell Davis. He's been on the ballot for a couple of years now. He's been missing. He hasn't been making the final cut, but this year, you bet your ass, Terrell Davis is getting a gold jacket. That'll bring us over to somebody that you might not also be familiar with, like the Morton Anderson, but he doesn't have nearly as many accolades. And we got the Kenny Easley, a safety he played about 7 seasons on the Seattle Seahawks. He made the all 1980s decade team. He had 32 career picks. He was actually a defensive player of the year, too, for the NFL in 1984, and had 5 Pro Bowls.
Wow, that's a lot of interceptions, Dan. 32. Holy crap. So we're gonna move on now, and this person here, who's also being inducted into the 2017 class of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, is not a player. Actually, he's an owner. You might be familiar with him. His name is Mr. Jerry Jones. He owns the Dallas Cowboys. His net worth is about $5.2 billion, Dan. All right.
He's an expensive man.
He's an expensive man. He's worth a lot. And also, I don't know if you realize this, but the 3 Super Bowls that were won in the 1990s by the Dallas Cowboys, he was the owner of the team at the time. And he's only won the NFL Executive of the Year award one time throughout his 28-year career as the owner of the Dallas Cowboys, and that year was in 2014. What do you think, Dan?
There's a lot of people that were on this induction ballot, which we're going to get to, a couple that didn't make it. But for Jerry Jones, as you could, like DQ just said, only winning NFL Executive of the Year once out of this 28-year span, and it was in 2014 where the Cowboys didn't even win a Super Bowl at all, not even close, just barely made the playoffs. But Jerry Jones, he could have waited. Jerry Jones likes to put his hands in all over. He likes to let everybody know that the Dallas Cowboys are all Jerry Jones.
They do call the stadium Jerry World.
Yes, exactly, because Jerry loves the attention. He loves everything around him. He loves being he's not only the owner, DQ, if you notice this, he's the general manager. So it's been many years before the Cowboys even snapped their playoff drought. And now that they've just reemerged, it seems. And I'm not really going to credit Jerry Jones. If anybody I'm going to credit Stephen Jones, his son, the guy who's been making all of these awesome draft picks that are building this young team and making them what they are today.
What playoff drought?
Jerry Jones wanted to draft Johnny Manziel. Stephen Jones took the card right out of his hand, crumbled it up, threw it in the trash. He said, "Dad, no." Like a dog, no. That's a bad boy.
I don't know what playoff drought you're speaking about, because I remember the Cowboys going to the playoffs many times, but I remember them not winning a game for like 12 years or something like that.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to get at.
So anyways, we're going to move on from Jerry. Who else we got?
We got Jason Taylor, definitely worthy of the Golden Jacket for the 2017 Pro Football Bowl.
Defensive end, Miami Dolphins.
Defensive end, Miami Dolphins. You might know him, Jason Taylor. He had 139.5 career sacks. He's second all-time in forced fumbles created, which is 48, and tied for first in fumble recoveries, which is 29.
No shit.
And we're not done yet, DQ. So this man's also a 6-time Pro Bowler, NFL Defensive Player of the Year in 2006, and with all these accolades, obviously, and accomplishments, landed him right on the NFL 2000s All-Decade Team.
Wow. Yeah, I remember.
That man was a beast.
I remember watching Jason Taylor.
Yes, freak.
I also remember watching this guy, the next guy that's being inducted. You might remember him, not the original LT, but the second one, the second coming of LT. That's LaDainian Tomlinson, running back from what used to be the San Diego Chargers, now known as the Los Angeles Chargers.
We'll keep it San Diego because he never played for the LA Chargers.
LaDainian Tomlinson, he was a 2-time rushing champion in 2006, 2007, 5-time Pro Bowl. And he won the NFL MVP in 2006. Also the same year being an NFL Offensive Player of the Year. Over 13,684 rushing yards, Dan. Wow. And of course, like the man you just mentioned, he also made it on the All-Decade 2000s team.
Yeah, I gotta say, to me, he's the original LT to me, because as I wasn't around really when Lawrence Taylor was playing in the NFL. So he's the LT to me. I grew up watching Dan Thompson. I always thought he was the best. I remember back in the day playing ESPN 2K5 with Terrell Owens on the cover when he played for the Eagles. Dan Tomlinson, rated 97. That guy was a beast. I used to have him every day, all day. That used to be my favorite running back to run with. Touchdown machine.
I believe he still holds the all-time rushing touchdowns in a season record.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt it. And then that moves on to our last, but certainly not least, member that gets inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame this year, and that is the St. Louis Ram Arizona Cardinal, mostly known, Kurt Warner. Kurt Warner, he's been on the ballot for a little while, and he just made it. Kurt Warner definitely deserving of it. He's a 1-time Super Bowl champion.
But he's been to 3.
And he won one, and he was the Super Bowl MVP of that year. I believe it was Super Bowl 34. And 4-time Pro Bowler. And for people that didn't know about Kurt Warner, he's also a 2-time Arena Bowl first team, which is like the Pro Bowl for the Arena Bowl, because he used to play in that. He's also a 2-time NFL MVP in 1999 and 2001. And in both of those years, he also got he was the 2-time NFL passing touchdown leader and passing yard leader.
Just a little fun fact, Dan. The man used to bag groceries.
That's the biggest one. I think that right there, DQ, might have what sealed him to get into the Hall of Fame.
My dad used to tell me a story about Kurt Warner. I don't think it's true at all, but he used to tell me that some coach went to the local Stop and Shop and asked the guy working in the aisle, "Hey, can you throw me that roll of toilet paper?" And Kurt Warner just grabbed it and threw a perfect spiral, and they were like, "You want a job, kid?"
It was history after that.
It was
all history.
It was
after
all
that.
history. The '90s. It was a crazy time, man. So we're gonna do this real quick, this little segment before we wrap up. Here's some people that were on the ballot that did not make it, Dan. All right. Wide receiver Terrell Owens, 6-time Pro Bowler, 3-time leader in the NFL in receiving touchdowns in 2001, 2002, and 2006. Also on the All-Decades team of the 2000s. Then we got Ty Law, cornerback from the New England Patriots. This man's a 3-time Super Bowl champion, Dan. Also a 5-time Pro Bowler, and he also led the league in interceptions back in '98 and '05. Then we move on to the newly named general manager of the San Francisco 49ers, former safety of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Denver Broncos, John Lynch. Also a Super Bowl champion and a 9-time Pro Bowler. And then we got another safety, Dan, that didn't make it. Safety Brian Dawkins, who is best known for his years out in Philadelphia with the Eagles, but also went and played for the Denver Broncos after that, and he too is a 9-time Pro Bowler and on the NFL 2000s All-Decade team. So, Dan, what's your opinions about the guys who made it versus the guys who didn't? What do you think?
All right. So I'm going to start this by saying I have, with no disrespect to Kenny Easley at all whatsoever, I think it was a robbery to put Kenny Easley in there over Ty Law, the longtime cornerback from the Patriots. I mean, just look at the comparisons. Like, he's on an all-decade team of 1980s. That's impressive. Oh, but wait, so is Ty Law, but for 2000s. And then he 32 career picks. Yeah, that's good, but how many picks were coming each year? You know what I mean? And I know that there's been solid picks for years on from Ty Law since he led the interceptions for those of 1998 and 2005. He was leading all cornerbacks and defensive backs with picks. He's a 5-time Pro Bowler, just like Kenny Easley, but he's also a 3-time Super Bowl champion.
So you're saying you think Ty Law should be there instead of Kenny Easley?
Oh, without a doubt. Or I wouldn't really necessarily kick Kenny Easley out. I would kick Jerry Jones out first.
For Ty Law?
Ty Law, Terrell Owens, anybody you just named, DQ, they should have went in before Jerry Jones.